Hello everybody and welcome back to FM23 with the Youth Academy Guiseley save, and we are back to see what our youth intake preview is going to look like and maybe have a game. I've just pressed continue and something's completely thrown me off. Let's dive into the game. So what has completely thrown me off? Well, our game against Lincoln is postponed, and that's the one I was going to show you in this episode, but that's not the main point of the episode. The main point is to go through everything that's happened since the last episode and then look at the youth intake preview, and if we have enough time we'll fast forward a little bit further and see if there's a game to be had. But we are in the 2nd of January 2038. We are currently 13th in the league, and I would argue we've turned it around. The season started okay, mid-table, got up to 8th. That's the highest we've been this year. It's all been pretty difficult, but we have just started turning it around, although we just lost the drew with Chesterfield 1-1. So we're taking a different approach to this year in terms of how I play the game. And what I've been doing previously is focusing on, well, we saw it, right? I would go into home, I would look at what they're playing, where we think we can exploit, looking at their understandings. But what I found is that was changing what I wanted to do far too much. So now we're going with a different approach into this season, which is probably why the results have been slightly different. Maybe you would argue not as good. I mean, we've got a 0 goal difference. We've got a game in hand. If we win that game in hand, we could go up to 11th. So it's not terrible. And we're on, if we put up a good run, we could get back in towards the playoffs and things like that. I mean, we're 13th. We're bang on mid-table pretty much. I mean, 12th and 13th is basically mid-table. We have a 0 goal difference, so I think the season isn't too bad. Looking at the schedule, as you can see, it was sort of this period here, I would say. After we lost to Leicester in the last episode, lost to Blackpool, we drew with Luton, lost to Notts County on penalties, beat Chesterfield, lost to Wickham, lost to Lincoln, lost to Swansea, drew with Charlton, drew with Burton Albion, and this is where I started to sort of experiment a little bit. And when I say experiment, as you can see, it's clearly not with the formation. We've reverted back to what we know in the 4-2-3-1 wide with wingers, not down the middle. And I feel like what we've been doing has been working. As you can see, we've got a 1-1 draw with Bradford City and then one on penalties, which is a really good result. We got... why is this not right? Hang on. Auto size all columns. Where's my attendance gone? Attendance, get it in there, and then auto size all columns. Right, that's what I wanted to look at. So as you can see, now we're back into this. We beat Bradford 1-1 on penalties. A lot of the supporters turned out for that one. We drew with Charlton in the FA Cup second round, which was a good result. Drew 1-1 with Shrewsbury, beat QPR 1-0, beat Charlton 4-3 in extra time in front of 7,962 people, which was nice. We then went and we beat MK Dons at home, 5,750 people for that one. Luton Town, we beat them 2-0, 5,750 people for that one as well. And we've just drawn with Chesterfield 1-1. Coming up, Barnsley in the knockout round, the Northern Section third round EFL Trophy in the knockouts. And then we've got West Ham, who are coming to Guiseley. And I'm not going to lie, they're probably going to beat us. So I much would have preferred this to be played at their ground, and we would have got half of the money of them pretty much having a pretty full stadium, which is a shame. But you never know, them coming to our place, we could beat them. It could work in our favour, but a big money tie, that one, for the FA Cup third round, which will be nice and healthy for us. And then we get into the second half of the season. So we're still in the FA Cup, we're still in the EFL Trophy. Obviously the Carling Cup is over and done, and we're mid-table in the league. I think this is more... I don't want to say realistic, it's more what I was expecting from this sort of team at this sort of level and where we are in the save. I'm hoping that League One doesn't bog us down too much, but you know, we're doing okay. We're doing okay with the squad we've got. We're well within the wage budget and stuff like that. We're not going to go over that anytime soon. We're doing well. Finances wise, they're still in the mud. 1.6 million halfway through the season. I mean, the start of this season was round about here somewhere. 1.2 million, so it's a £400,000 loss. It says 651, so we should probably go with that. A £651,000 loss this season, so extrapolate that to the end of the season, it's going to be about a £1.2 million loss. So they desperately do need owners to come in and buy it, but we've just been given a new contract, so we're not going to get fired anytime soon, and we are working miracles at this club. You can see every June you get a big spike of like profit in every June of months. So, and it is going up. Our profit is going up every June. And I think that's, like I've said before, the sponsorships are sort of equaling out. We're getting new sponsors every season. And eventually it'll even out. So you're not losing this much money. But ideally, you get in a nice wealthy benefactor that comes in, invests loads of money, invests into the equipment, invests into the training, the youth, and things like that. And then that would make this save a hell of a lot easier to progress. But that being said, I'm absolutely loving it. So Dave, what are the new strategies for this season to get these sorts of results? Well, what I've been doing is if I fire up, let's see how I can do this. Hang on. I've been creating notes around games, around when we come up against certain formations, what do we need to do? Now, there's not a lot of notes there at the moment, and I'm hoping to expand them, and then if I get enough, I can do a video on it or something like that around what I've found, what we've done, or maybe a stream on it or a Discord post or something like that. But yeah, that's what I've been doing. I've been writing notes down about things we've done, what can we do to make our system not change dramatically, but change enough that allows us to play on the aspect of what the AI does and what the AI are playing. So yeah, these little notes are what I've been doing, and that's how we're attacking this season generally. So that's the schedule, the results, what we've been doing, how we've been playing. Let's have a quick look at the players then. Scott Lloyd is the highest appearance maker so far. He's probably not going to be too far off the all-time appearances. 386 appearances he's made in the league for Guiseley. I don't know what our record is at the moment. It's Harry Jordan that's got it, but obviously he's not at the club anymore. But yeah, 26-year-old Scott Lloyd, 32 appearances this season. Shane Stitt up there, 28 with 4 as a sub, 27 with 1 of a sub for Faulkner at left back. Chris Fearon, 26 and 7 as a sub. Dominic Johnson, 26 and 3. Malik Priestnall, 24 and 2. Graham Cox, 22 and 7. So, and as you can see, a lot of people are getting some appearances. We have one down here in Stephen Harris, who's a little bit annoyed he's not getting much game time, but he'll probably be released at the end of the season. And a good number of youngsters are coming in as well, which reminds me, if we then look at our under-21s and our under-18s and keep it sorted by this, Connor has come in and made a first-team appearance and 3 sub-appearances for the senior team. We also have Joe is in here. He's made a sub-appearance for the senior team as well. And Christian Agnarsson, there you are, 1 sub-appearance for the first team as well. So we're trying to get those people that have decided to put their name in the game by donating to the channel in when we can. Most of the time it is in the EFL Cup, just on the bench and making us so we can have a bit of rotation. It all helps and it's all good for development, which is awesome. The surprise in all this list is probably Kaminsky at 15 starting appearances, 11 sub. He's been rotating quite a lot with the person who's currently at right back, who's not in this list because he's obviously suspended for the next game, which is Max Whittam, who's up here, so 21 and 9. I would say that Kaminsky is now becoming our starting right back because he's a little bit more consistent than Max Whittam, which is really helping. So goals-wise, 11 for Taron Allpress, 8 for Cameron Thorpe, 4 for Shane Stitt, 4 for Will Jones, 3 for Cox, Fearon and Priestnall. In the assists, we've got 6 for Graham Cox, 4 for Stitt, 3 for Whittam, 3 for Healy, 3 for Salt, 2 for Fearon, 2 for Bertrand, 2 for Johnson and 2 for Thorpe as well, with a few people there on 1. The highest average rating so far, Ben Spence, who has made 4 first team appearances, a 7.3. He's looking like he could be pretty useful for us in the coming seasons. Will Jones is up there, a 7.16 after 16 starting appearances and 8 subs. Priestnall's up there again, a 7.09, and Brian Swamba in his 9 first team appearances in total is on a 7.08 as well. But yeah, lots of people performing well in training. There's a big change happening in progress of players. If we look at Steve Bonner, who's starting to get a bit more first team football, he is that's not the one I wanted. Progress. He is starting to progress reasonably well. 6 months. For some reason, everybody's having a drop of technicals. I think it's our training facilities not being good enough. But if you look at all time, slight improvement in technical, major improvement in mental abilities, major improvement in physical abilities since he's been here. Obviously, since he was 17 years old, there's been improvements. 20 years old has sort of seen it die down a little bit. But yeah, I think what's now letting us down is that our training facilities aren't good enough to let people reach their potential ability, which is very, very irritating. Believe me, I wish that was different, but it's not. unfortunately. That's where we stand at the moment. But yes, Guiseley v Lincoln has been postponed. That is the game we were also going to play. We could go and do the game v Barnsley in the EFL Trophy, but I feel like that's not an amazing game to show. Jan Petrick, you've turned professional. Well done. I'm trying to think what else I could show you while we're in this bit here. Let's go and have a look at some of our Patreons and members then. So Connor in the under 21s. Let's have a look at you in terms of development. So progress, attributes. Let's look at the last 6 months. You, no tool change in technical, but a good improvement mentally and good improvement physically as well. And if we look at all time, again, not a huge change technically, but a slight overall improvement mentally and a slight overall physical ability as well. But you do look like you're coming along quite nicely in this holding midfield role that we're training you in, which is good to see. Who else have we got in terms of our donators? Let's call them donators. And we've got Joe. Joe is here. So Joe, if we look at your development, let's go to the last 6 months again. So slight improvement technically, slight improvement mentally, and a slight improvement physically as well, which is good to see. Heading, marking, tackling all going up. Lovely to see that. Stamina and strength going up for you as well at centre back is pretty crucial. All time, quite a large jump. Heading's gone up by 2, marking up by 2, tackling up by 2, stamina up by 2, strength up by 2, concentration up by 1, which is huge for a centre back. Decisions up by 1 as well, positioning up by 1, and vision up by 1. All in all, most lines are going up, which is good to see for Joe. Next up, we've got let's have a look at Kristin Agnarsson, the latest patron. Although there are people with outstanding name in the game contributions, so they will be brought into the game at some point. So if we look at all time, slight improvement technically, a slight improvement mentally, and a slight improvement physically. But in the last 6 months, mainly physical attributes going up for you, Kristin. So yeah, good. Again, progress all heading in the right direction. We have Alphakov, who was doing really well and has picked up a broken lower leg. He's out for 4 to 7 months, which is an absolute killer. It's very much going to affect your progress. So if we go all time, drop in technical, drop in mental, a bravery is taking a drop in 4 because of the lower leg injury, but an improvement in the physical side of things. And then 6 months, yeah, it's not too bad other than this bravery drop. Luckily, you were a very brave player to start with, so that might come back up with a little bit of training and a little bit of game time. So we need to keep an eye on that one. Who else do we have in here? So I'm trying to remember now. Do we have anyone else, or is that? Apologies if there is someone else and I've missed you, but I think that is everyone. Jan Petrick, who's just turned professional, is the last one, I think. So all time, a slight improvement in goalkeeping ability. Nothing else really over here. 6 months though, like a good return on the goalkeeping ability. It'll be interesting to see if you break into the first team. You obviously were very highly rated when it came through, and yeah, not too bad at all, to be honest. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else. I think that is it at the moment for name in the game. But if I have missed you out, let me know down below and we can sort it out for you. That is not a problem at all. And if you do need to get your name in the game, then let me know. If you've subscribed or Patreoned or you're a member on YouTube and you should have your name in the game and you don't, let me know and we'll get you in there straight away. And if you want to become a member, the link is in the description. Well, if you want to become a member, the button is down below. If you want to become a Patreon, the link is in the description below. But if you don't want to do that, you can like and subscribe. They're both completely free. And if you could do that, it helps this series find other people. People can find it. The channel can grow. We can have a lot more interaction in the comment section and we can go from there, which is awesome, isn't it? It's always good to have nice, good, chatty people in the comment section so I can read all your comments and reply to every single one as well. Oh, I guess we should touch on the under-21s are doing terribly. They're like bottom of their division in the under-21s because I can't set their tactics and can't do it because there's still that bug. The under-18s are 5th, which isn't too bad because they've got one of the youngest under-18 teams with lots of 16-year-olds in there. And they do have a game in hand which could leave them in the exact same position, but 1 point and 5 points off top, 1 point off Lincoln in front of them. So both young teams are doing reasonably well. I think I've tried to extend this episode to an acceptable time, but I'm not sure I've done that. So I think we probably are going to leave it there. I mean, if you've noticed, you're getting more episodes in this season. So I think that's a good thing. Like we've done Leicester. We did the Leicester game as a bit of a bonus. Oh, we haven't looked at our youth intake preview. That's the whole point of this episode. We'll go and do that in a minute. We're not going to do the West Ham game because I do still want to keep a good pace for this series. I think the pace of it is going pretty good as far as we've been going. So, yeah, after this episode, we'll be back in March, at the end of March, for our youth intake day. Let's go and have a look at what our head of youth development, who is potentially up for renewal this year. I don't think he's brought through... and we can't really judge him, but I'm going to judge him. I don't think he's brought through amazingly good standard players so far. But, yeah, this is what they're saying. They are saying, I don't know why it keeps doing this where it doesn't put it on the page properly, centre-backs. There is a minimum of 3 centre-backs that are looking rather promising. Interesting, that is a position we need upgrading on. Central midfielders, 2 prospects in central midfielders, an A. 2 wide midfielders, no, 1 of our wide midfielders are a great prospect. Attack midfielder, we should keep a very close eye on. Strikers, a forward that can be considered a fine prospect. 1 wing-back rated very highly, so a wing-back left, I'm going to suggest. Full-backs with plenty of promise. We don't have a lot of quality out wide on a C, and we lack quality in goal, and there are no defensive midfielders. So we'll be training, hopefully, one of these 2 prospects in central midfield will be trained up to be a holding midfielder, which would be nice. But looking forward to seeing strikers, attacking midfielders, centre-backs and central midfielders. I mean, all of these, pretty much, would be amazing. Wing-backs, as long as they can play a full-back as well. I'm going to suggest there's going to be one player that can do probably left-back, wing-back left, and midfield left. Because that then ticks off A there, and potentially A there for an attacking midfielder. That would be a winger. So we'll see how that goes. 1 right back, 1 goalkeeper, 1 left back, 3 centre backs, 1 left wing back, 1 midfield left, 3 central midfielders, 1 midfield right, 1 attacking midfield right, 1 attacking midfield centre, 1 attacking midfield left, and 1 out and out striker. So it looks interesting. Players coming through. It's potentially a real golden generation for the club. As we know, this is Nathan Austin's 2nd season, maybe 3rd season as our head of youth development. Good personality. Not too bad at bringing them through. When did we bring him in? If we go milestones, signed by Guiseley in 2035. So this will be his 3rd season of being our head of youth development. Is that a chance to maybe see if we can get an upgrade? I do need to go and review all my staff and see what we can do and see who's out there that we can bring in, including under 21s, under 18s and senior staff for coaching as well. The only person that generally has a very safe job is John Beale, because he's been with me since the start. And he's bloody brilliant. And he's very good. I've got no issues against John Beale. He'll probably, if he can be my assistant manager for the whole thing, that would be amazing. That would be really, really good. So, yeah, we'll see how he goes. We are going to leave that episode there, though. We will be back for the youth intake day in March. So we're going to go 3 months in advance. And hopefully we keep this little good trajectory of results going and we sneak into the playoffs or even better. But I feel like this season is an adapting season for how I'm playing the game. What more can I'm doing this series to see how can I play this game differently and what more I can get out of it. And it's probably one of the most fun series I've had where I haven't just flown up the leagues, or even with NK Maribor, right? I was top of the league and then you're signing good players from the Premier League to make you better. This is all about tactics and background stuff, which is really good fun if you're a geek like me. So there we go. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you in the next one. Sorry there was no gameplay in this one. Let me know you've enjoyed the video with a like. Leave me a comment down below and I'll reply to it. And I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.